Hey, what is up, guys? It's Guildspire here, and welcome back to Champions of the Fog. We are here today with Round 1, Division 2, Prestige versus Undying Alliance, and I am joined here today with a new producer of the Fog, a new co-host, Vader. How you doing today, Vader?
I am doing well. Excited to
be
be here. Excited to see this match.
No, I'm very excited to have you here. Vader, for those who don't know you, can you give a quick background?
Yeah, I'm the OG Vader. I'm a variety streamer as well as a Dead by Daylight player on We Overslept. I'm a Survivor main who dabbles in Killer. Did a lot of solo tournaments and wanted to get into team comp, and so joined We Overslept, and ever since I've been hooked. I've been following a bunch of leagues, and then Champions of the Fog. I was in season 0, and I've loved this league, so excited to keep following it and keep being a part of it.
Awesome. No, thank you for that quick introduction. Very happy to have you here. Yeah, no, it's always nice having co-hosts who have obviously had that comp experience, whether it be by watching or playing especially, because it does add that different lens to the conversation being had, right? Where you really can, put in, well, here's my experience, here's what I would do. That being said, actually, quick question for you. Since you do stream and obviously you do play comp, Killer or Survivor main, or a little bit of both?
Well, I mean, like in pubs, I play both. Right now, I was rank 1 on both sides, so I'd like to say I'm pretty proficient in both. I am a Survivor main when you talk comp, just because being Killer in comp, you have to be a lot sweatier than I generally am.
That is fair, and you are not wrong in that, being a comp Killer main, though I have started to dabble in Survivor. I've been getting some practice on it, and definitely not up there with the best, but hey, everyone starts somewhere, right?
Right. Yeah. The big thing is when you're trying to get into comp Killer, you got to try to find scrims with other teams because pubs does not prepare you.
No, not in the slightest.
That's been my struggle, so I've stayed Survivor main.
No, that's fair. And yeah, no, pubs does not prepare you. You can kind of get some of the practice down here and there, but for the most part, you're like, okay, what is this Huntress going to do any differently in comp versus pubs? And then you just cross maps across your face, like, okay, I see now. I see what's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
But with that being said, since this is the first round, I'm not sure if you watched the last round with Object of Depression versus Cerebral Assassins. If we see High Surveillance here, who is going to be the killer for Undying Alliance, what are you expecting to see here on Wrecker's Yard?
On Wreckers? I mean, I would love to see them bring out a Spirit. I don't know if they'd bring out Spirit this early. Did they use Spirit last week?
So no, this is actually your first round of Division 2, so Spirit has not been brought out whatsoever. Okay. In the last round, or last match that we saw with Object of Depression versus EA, we saw a Nurse, we saw 2 Bubbas, and we saw... who was the last one? I'm trying to remember. It was another B tier. It was actually Huntress. We saw Huntress on Wreckers again, which we did see in Season 0 with Alex the Plug, and I'd love to go back to that match because it was a great example of how to run Huntress on that map. We saw a very similar play that last match as well, where they used hills to their advantage and just were hitting some really, really good hatchets. So I would not be surprised to see Huntress again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. Huntress is a good play on that map. Yeah, I definitely would. I would love to see Huntress on that map. Either Huntress or Spirit for me.
I could definitely see a Spirit. I think, especially as we've seen, and if I'm looking at the scorecards, and I'm starting to see a trend, for those who are killing first, you're definitely put into a really advantageous position to where you can really set the tone for the rest of the match. Because, after that first match, you switch sides, you really put the pressure on the killer. following you if you're able to just go in with a full 4K, right? So I think, you know, bringing in an S tier, A tier, and going for the throat is really the smart move, not just from a points perspective, but from a psychological perspective on top of which.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what we saw last week with the first round last week, as well as it sounded like a nurse came out last game. So I expect to see an S tier or an A tier killer, first go round here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, if we're looking back and we're talking about the same match, you know, we're looking at like 4-1 Locker versus, you know, EMA, and it was a freaking, you know, slug out side to side. We saw, I think, 2 nurses, a Freddy. I forget what the last one was, but like it was a lot of high tier killers, to say the least. So I definitely think that we could see that again here if it does come to that point.
Yep, I agree with that, and I hope to see it. I love seeing high tier killers go at it, especially versus really good survivors. So I'm ready for it. But if we see something different, I want to see how much pressure can be put on the map, see the map awareness from the players. I love seeing good plays, so I'm excited.
Yeah, no, especially
to see both these teams.
Especially with Spirit. I know that, you know, one reason maybe didn't see as much Spirit the last round, or rather in Division 1 of Round 1, was because Spirit was still broken at that point, where she was not able to hear environmental cues like footsteps, whether that be on wood, on swamp, what have you. Versus now, after this most recent Hellraiser update that has since been fixed. So I could definitely see some Spirit gameplay on the Grim Pantry, especially because footsteps are just so loud on that map.
And it really is a huge difference being able to hear footsteps or not being able to hear footsteps. I like, throughout that whole thing, I didn't even want to play Spirits in pubs because I was like, no footsteps. I'll just play somebody else. Like, give me Wraith or anybody else. Like, don't do that to my Spirit.
No, that is 110% understandable, to say the least. I can definitely and fully understand that, because, you know, it's such a big part of our canon, especially with those who really do main Spirit and, you know, use an equalizer to kind of bump some stuff here and there. Not be able to hear your footsteps while in chase is just such a miserable experience.
100%. Yeah, it was not fun to try to play Spirit. Like, I had one scrim that I played against another team, and not being able to hear footsteps versus somebody who knows how to try to trick you with their scratch marks. Oh my gosh. Just, it's not a fun time. It's really not a fun time, guys.
Exactly. With that being said, before I do forget, I will be starting up a prediction here for those who do like to bet their channel points. And today is going to be UA versus Prestige, so feel free to put in your predictions now on who's going to win round 1, or rather, Trial 1. Unfortunately, there's so many different terms, whether it be round, trial, game, match, what have you. So I always get those crisscrossed here and there, but I'm really excited. Prestige is a newer team, for those who are not aware. They are made up of some comp veterans, but also some people that are a little bit newer to comp as well. So very curious to see what they bring to the table, as there are some names here just on the Survivor side that I actually do not recognize, from Skelexton, Venison, Rain, and Captain Skills. Obviously, Dazi, I do recognize. I've run into them a lot of times before, whether that be in my own community or even in comp prior. So very curious to see what the Survivor team brings to the table. Of course, High Surveillance being on Killer. We all have seen High Surveillance's play before, whether that be on Nurse, Trickster, Twins, or otherwise. They are, like myself, a jack of all trades. So excited to see what they bring here.
I am also excited to see. Do you think you could see a Trickster here? I don't think first round. I think maybe if High Surveillance plays the next killer match, that would be what, fourth round?
Yeah, I'd say like fourth trial, fourth match. That's when we'll probably see if a Trickster were to come out. But I do see Giraffe has unmuted.
We are good to go.
Awesome. I will let them know in that case that they are good to go. We'll be jumping right on into trial number 1 of Round 1, Division 2, Prestige versus Undying Alliance. Our reigning champs, actually, from Season 0 for those who were here. So we'll be interested to see if they're able to keep up their winning streak, for lack of a better term, and move into this first round with a W.
Yeah, last season, Undying Alliance was definitely very strong. Very exciting to see, too. A lot of their plays were really good team chemistry, especially on Survivor side.
And 110%, though it's going to be interesting to see in how they measure up versus some of the teams that have joined the league since then. I mean, there are some big names now, especially on Survivor side, and I'm always looking at the data. I'm looking at the perk usage. I'm looking at killer usage. And I'm the biggest thing that I'm just so curious about with this season is, are we going to see such a commanding set of plays from killers in comparison to survivors? Because that's going to be the biggest thing, right? Is last season, it was all killer side. They are the ones who are winning the matches. Will it turn the tables this time around? Are we going to see survivors really carrying these teams to victory?
I think that's definitely possible. I think at this point, the survivors are gaining a lot of the points for the teams, but they're still relying on their killers to keep the lead. If they get the lead using their survivors, they're hoping, come on, killer, keep our lead. Or, I mean, if you can extend it, if you can get that 4K, that's even better. I mean, you're always looking for that. But definitely with a lot of these better survivor teams out there, you're a lot more pressure is on your killers.
Oh, yeah, 110%. And the biggest thing is, honestly, if we still see like even if we see an even split, I'll be wicked happy because that means that the point system is working as intended. But we are jumping right on in, and look at that. It is another Huntress from High Surveillance. And depending on the RNG for Hill and everything else, I mean, Huntress is such a oppressive killer on this map that we have seen time and time again.
Yep. Man, that's great. I love seeing Huntress here. And if there's not a lot of structures, that could spell disaster for these survivors.
Yeah, 110%. And we do see High Surveillance getting into their first chase here with Serena. Though I am surprised not getting that first hit, honestly, with Babushka, which we see there, that green add-on. You can ready up so freaking quickly on these survivors, and they have zero time to really do much, as we see there, going around that tight corner.
That was an excellent hit right there, too.
Oh, 100%. It's one of those hits that I feel like I struggle with when I play Huntress, and why I really go, I still need to practice Huntress through and through. But I want to say that this arena is doing a really good job of extending this chase, trying to dodge these hatchets, and all the while, survivors are going to be working on gens, though I will mention that Corrupt Invention's still up for probably another, 45 seconds, give or take.
The way that survivor ran into the corner, though, I'm expecting they're probably on those mid-gens near the shack or somewhere around there, working on gens. We see one pop. So, yeah, they're working on the gens, trying to get them taken care of, and that survivor was smart, going to just a complete dead corner, make Spirit have to walk away.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's actually a really important gen too, as we've really been talking and hyping up the power that Huntress has on top of that hill. Getting that gen out of the way where she's not really able to just take command of that hill, the gen, and the unhook back in that corner, I think is going to be huge. But Surveillance is now in a really tight predicament where it's like, okay, do I defend the gen? Do I defend the hook? What do I need to do here to really ensure my victory? And it's a tough decision. There's only about maybe 15, 20 seconds left for these survivors to get this unhook. And so High Surveillance has made that decision of, hey, I'm going to pressure this, fine, get that generator, but I'm going to make sure that this survivor is out early.
Yeah, and I agree with that play. Honestly, even if that gen goes, you still have two gens over here. You're also protecting your totem over here. Of course, you do still have Undying. But that's, I mean, yeah, it's a good play to protect that gen, protect the hook next to that gen.
Yeah, but unfortunately we saw, and what I'm going to say is a really big misplay by Surveillance there, where honestly that amount of fatigue time, since they had no add-ons to slow it down, on the hatchet throw resulted in them being able to get that unhook. You know, if there was Oak half, for example, that would have been a completely different story and would have resulted in them being able to ready up again to deny that unhook. But, you know, they are able to recover a little bit here with 3 people injured and are able to get that second hook.
Yeah, I would really like to see these survivors try to reset. I know they're still trying to put pressure on those gens, but when you're injured like that versus a Huntress, it gives the Huntress a lot of pressure.
Now 110%, and we're seeing that right here as we did see Dazzy, you know, take a hit off of that gen. And like you said, you want to pressure those gens, but you need to think of it as a way to deny the killer pressure. And, you know, High Surveillance, though, falling under it earlier, seems to have recollected himself here.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like we did see those survivors actually heal up, so that's exactly what I was calling out there. You can't go in this injured, try to go for a unhook. Oh.
Yeah, but look at that. That is surprising to see. A unhook without BT. Yeah, you did ensure that they don't go to second stage, but hey, you take a health state. You now give them a potential for 2 full hook states on top of which.
That was a big misplay right there. Like, Ooh.
Only thing I'm thinking of is that Dazzy has DS, and so they're thinking, okay, well, High Surveillance is going to pick up. But no, honestly, the best thing that High Surveillance can do right now is leave them slugged next to the hook with, you know, 1 out of the 2 remaining survivors currently injured. I mean, this is a very strong position for High Surveillance to be in.
Really good slug pressure. The only thing that could be good for the survivors, you force the killer to camp right here, and there are 3 gens on the other side. They can break any potential 3 gen at this point. Ooh, did he get a hit?
He got a hit there. I'll be honest. I was looking at the entire screen. I was kind of looking back and forth, and be fair, but I did not see that. And this is going to be a nightmare for these survivors to recover from. Unless an Unbreakable is in play, I don't know how they can recover here.
No, because Ace is injured now as well, and with all the slug pressure that's there, he cannot get healed. Ace did not have the med kit, if I'm remembering properly. This is a lot of pressure on these survivors. High Surveillance is definitely in control of this match.
And right now, Ace actually just gave away his positioning.
Ace gave away the positioning. Oh, and there's the med kit, like I said. So we already know Ace cannot heal. This is... Oh, wait. Was that an Unbreakable?
It's either an Unbreakable, potentially, or I do see the Ace over there with them, so probably a pickup in that regard.
It was a pickup. We saw some flashlight clicky. I don't think you want the Huntress aggro right now, Ace.
Yeah, you know, definitely a little bit of BMing there from Ace, and I agree with you. I would not want to be in their position as of this moment. To be fair, Huntress without hatchets is a little bit underwhelming, but she's decided to restock now.
Yeah, and with them not fully healing up or resetting, oh, hit the survivor on the hook with that hatchet.
Yeah, looks like they were trying to compensate for in that situation, and were not able to get the hit on Ace. And let's see, was I right about the DS? I was. So, okay. I see what the survivors were going for earlier on that unhook without BT. It's like, hey, we want to make sure they get off before second stage. You know, worst comes to worst, they eat the DS. But High Surveillance said, you know what, screw that noise. I'm just going to leave you slugged out, wait out the DS, and eat it here. And now High Surveillance knows full and well there's no DS in game, so these survivors are going to be under a lot of pressure.
There's no Unbreakable in game anymore either. We just saw Ace get up by himself from getting downed there.
You know, absolutely. At the end of the day, though, you know, it's still anyone's game. There's still 3 survivors left, and though High Surveillance has had some really, really good pressure, you know, the question does stand, could these last 2 survivors get these 2 gens and potentially get a 1, if not 2-man out?
I think so. I think Ace needs to reset with oh, well, there it is. All right, so the play is working. I think they do definitely still have a chance there, especially this is Venison's first hook. I think if they can get the gens on the opposite side of the map done, make Huntress walk all the way away from that hook. It looks like Huntress is walking all the way away from that hook anyway, so if one person can go get that unhook, have 3 survivors alive, and they're all working on separate gens, putting pressure down on the map, I definitely think it's possible. But that's also going to require making Huntress miss on some of these hatchets, because if she just keeps hitting these hatchets like this, it's going to be a tall order. Yeah.
Yeah,
This Huntress is hitting every shot I've seen right now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And fact of the matter is, you know, HySvLance really showing how competent they are with Huntress. A lot of people are going to question how are they hitting those hits behind the Survivor. And for those who are not aware about the hitboxes in Dead by Daylight, how it works is that your hitbox lags behind you, and any competent or well-seasoned Huntress is going to know that and understand, hey, I don't need to aim for you, I need to aim for your invisible hitbox and get those hits, and we're seeing HySvLance do just that.
Yeah, indeed.
And even better yet, HySvLance, while in chase with Ace, does end up finding Hatch, and that could spell real trouble for these survivors. You know, we saw where a Hatch play could really have been a big deal, and now if HySvLance having that knowledge, there's very little possibility of these survivors being able to escape in that fashion.
Yeah, I agree. With Cheryl going down here as well, that should be Cheryl's second hook.
That is correct.
So, hook in the basement, stay near that hatch. If Ace ends up going down, you're going to hear him. I think Ace's play at this point is get near a gate and wait to try to open once that hatch gets closed. But the problem there will be, this is a Huntress. She can hit you at the gate with those hatchets, and HySurveillance has definitely proven I've got the aim to get you.
100%.
It's going to be tough.
100%. And that's one of the biggest things, right? Is that Huntress, though she is a 110 killer, is just able to apply so much pressure from so far away if you know how to get the hits. And Basement, as we discussed last match with, you know, Out of the Depression and Cerebral Assassins, you know, Huntress and Basement is very, very strong. And I think that was the right move by Survivors. Draw pallet, gain distance, and make her, you know, choose between the two of you here.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly,
Yeah.
one of the things I'd worry about here from Survivor is the fact that Ace has not been on hook, meaning that he's not going to die instantly on this hook here, and that means that, you know, that hatch is still out of your grasp. If anything, it may have been a play to reduce some points, if any, by just allowing Venison to, you know, progress out of the game just to deny that 1 point. And 1 point might not seem much, but it does go a very long way.
Yeah, it does indeed. I mean, like, we've seen, especially last season, how many times did we see whole matches decided by 1 point? And
Yeah.
I thought that was super surprising last season when that happened. Like, there were several matches by 4 Dwights, 1 Locker, especially at the end, like, close to the playoffs. They were decided by 1 point. After 4 trials, 1 point deciding the difference between the two teams. Causes a heartbreaker, honestly, for some of the teams.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
I think if well, it looks like Cheryl would be Death Hook right now.
Yep,
I
Cheryl
may just go ahead
is
and
Death
hook her. You know she doesn't have DS. Hook her in the basement, close the hatch, force the pressure on Ace.
But interestingly enough, she doesn't have Unbreakable, but did you notice something? Cheryl still got back up, which would suggest Soul Guard.
It does indeed suggest Soul Guard. That's interesting.
Yeah, you don't see
like
that
that
perk
play.
used in comp every single day, as most times survivors are going to be cleansing Ruin constantly, you know, within the first 30 seconds to 2 minutes. But in this case, not cleansing Ruin has actually proven to be a boon rather than a hindrance, as these survivors are able to stay in the game because of it.
Yeah, I honestly, I think what we're seeing at that point. Well, we didn't see an Unbreakable earlier, did we? Because that was actually Ace picking up Cheryl. So Cheryl may have had Unbreakable.
Well, we saw Ace pick himself up, so one of them has Soul Guard. There's
That's
no
true. You're right.
no
One of
question
them
about
does.
that in this instance.
For sure. So it looks like Skillsy's giving himself up, putting himself in the locker right there. Unless he was trying for a cheeky head-on play, but I don't think that's what that was.
No, not that close by, so it definitely was more of a, okay, let me waste as much time as I can. Come on and grab me. And that's exactly what they did, but that puts them into a really awkward position. If you were to go for hatch play, you wanted Ace to get out via the hatch to deny this killer upwards of 10 points, but that explains a lot.
Deliverance play.
Yep,
Yeah.
that explains a lot, but man, are you going to be able to do much with that, unfortunately? That's the question. There's the DS.
Oh, there's the bait. Oh, and a grab. Love seeing the grab.
Yeah, there's the dead hard. There was the attempt to try and make some distance, but Heiservan says, no, 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 not today, and puts Ace even further back in the basement just to ensure that he doesn't escape this time around.
Mm-hmm. It was a nice attempt. I think the play by Skillsy definitely should have been to try to extend chase. Hopping in the locker, was he healthy? I can't remember. Maybe
he was injured at that point.
Yeah, okay. So maybe you're going down anyway. Go ahead and just hop out. Hop
Yeah.
in the locker, go down.
And so I think that was probably the major play there. And we do see High Surveillance here just sitting on hatch, waiting for it to open. And it all comes down to Cheryl now, whether or not she's going to be able to be on that exit gate and apply some good pressure. Unfortunately for them, this hill here is a great spot in between the two, where you should be able to get some good lines of sight, and you don't even need to jump up there. You can see it from both sides, and ooh, that is a beautiful little peek there, as you can see it through the car window. And so there's no way of escape here.
No, this game is over.
It would take High Surveillance taking a quick snooze to be able to escape at this point, I'd bet.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, as we're kind of expecting this to be pretty much wrapped up, what are your overall thoughts here? Obviously, a little bit of a slow start by High Surveillance, but really coming, you know, and taking his time to get into stride and just ending up really blowing this match up and bringing it over to the Undying Alliance's side. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that High Surveillance really was an opportunist here. Like, the survivors made some very key mistakes, and High Surveillance punished them for all of them. Every time a mistake was made, there was a punishment given.
Yeah, I mean, that's what killer mains have to do, right? Like, I say it all the time when someone goes, you know, who is better favored, survivors or killers, and go, absolutely survivors, because killers win off the mistakes of them. And so if survivors don't make mistakes, you don't win matches. And so I think it's a great example where mistakes were made, and some really great plays too, but High Surveillance were just able to capitalize every single time.
Yeah, and that's what you have to see out of your killer, and that was amazing to see that every mistake, it seemed like there was a there was an answer. Like, I've got you. You made a mistake here. I'm gonna punish you for it, and I know the strategy of what I need to do. Like, slugging at the at that hook and making sure to take down Cheryl and have 3 slugged, but not hooking the other person, walking away from the person on hook, letting them progress and eventually die on hook at 3 gens or at 2 gens. That was a really good play, and a more inexperienced killer may have gone more for the hooks, gone ahead and hooked another survivor instead of leaving the slugs and leaving the slug pressure there. So really, really good to see from High Surveillance. Good strategies. Good job taking advantage. And from survivors, I think having too many people go near the hook was the mistake there. Go ahead, and if he's going to camp that hook, the way you counter that is with gen pressure. But for sure, that was a good game on both sides. Absolutely.
And so for those wondering what the final score of that trial was, that is 9 points to Prestige and 46 points to Undying Alliance. So Prestige's killer here really going to have to step it up and, you know, bridge that gap, ensuring that UA does not take a commanding lead moving into trial number 3. So, with that being said, if you're Prestige here, you're moving up to killer, you're going to be on Wrecker's Yard, what are you bringing to the table?
If you're Prestige, at this point, you've got to come back. I'm gonna bring, I think you have to bring a S tier. I think where I was saying I wanted to see a Spirit here, I think you bring Spirit because right now you're under the gun. You are in need of points. Well, it really depends. I don't know who their killer's main is, whoever they're most comfortable with, but you gotta go to your main.
No, absolutely. I mean, there are some recognizable names like Rugard, who we all know and love from Vigo's Court and Chains of Fog. But on top of that, there are some other killers that will be joining. I believe the killer coming up is going to be Skills, actually, who I have personally not seen play at all, so I can't really speak too much on their ability. So it's going to be interesting to see what they bring to the table, whether it's going to be an S-tier killer or someone else entirely.
Yeah, if Rue was playing, I've followed Rue definitely when he was commentating and definitely when he was playing in Vigos, as well as just I followed Rue's streams. I would want to see him play Trickster if Rue was playing killer. I want to see you bring Trickster in comp and dominate Rue.
That's fair. That's fair. No, I would love to see it personally. I don't know if we'll see it today, but we'll have to wait and see. You never know. You never know. With that being said, real quick, I do want to request that Giraffe, if you could double check Skills' DBD IDs. I'm trying to find them, but so far, there they are. So reason being is because their name is now Captain Skills. So I'll have to update that in the DBD IDs. Just for everyone aware, please make sure that you do update us if you do decide to change your name. That way, we are able to update it accordingly in the DBD IDs so people can join your match. But with that being said, let's get the lobby going, shall we? And see what Captain Skills here is going to bring. I have a sneaking suspicion it could very well be... I'm gonna say a nurse. I have a feeling that they need to go nurse. What are your thoughts?
A nurse here?
Wrecker's Yard, kind of wide open map. I think nurse is possible, though there is a lot of hitbox collision due to like the small objects on those tiles.
Yeah, I don't think that a nurse necessarily on this map would be the best play. It's at least not what I would recommend. We could see it, and I could see a nurse doing well. I would even think like a Wraith, maybe.
I mean, the problem with Wraith, if we're looking at that from that perspective, is Wraith is going to suffer a lot at those pallets, right? And Wrecker's Yard is known for a very pallet-heavy map based on RNG. There's sometimes some huge dead zones based on it, though. And then, you know, in all the cardinal directions, north, south, east, west, and the corners, you have those tiles to work with. But in that middle area near Shack, you know, it's just such a pallet-heavy map, so... I think Wraith would probably suffer a lot in that regard. We could see an Insta-Shred killer like Bubba, maybe. I could see that.
Ah, yeah. Bubba would be good. We could see a return at a Huntress. We could see them say, you've brought your Huntress, we will bring ours, and we will see who the better Huntress is. I could definitely see that. I mean, we saw that, I want to say we saw that last week. With we saw Bubba come out, and then immediately another Bubba followed. Like, oh, you can play Bubba, I can play Bubba better.
Yep. No, 110%. And Huntress, as we've seen over and over again, some really good gameplay from Huntress on this map, being able to utilize the Hilter advantage. We didn't see that as much from High Surveillance here, but they were able to snowball pressure, you know, due to their skill and map awareness. So, you know, I'd be interested to see another Huntress. I really do love seeing some Huntress gameplay, as they're probably one of my weaker killers. And watching some people who main Huntress, especially in comp, it definitely is a great way to go, okay, I didn't think about doing that there. You know, maybe I should try that out myself.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think that a Huntress would be a good play here. As we had already seen, and we had talked about it before the first match, we were like, a Huntress would be good to see here, a Spirit. I think... high mobility killers on Wreckers, there's some structures, but a lot of them are you can see the survivor as they can see you. So like there's less opportunities to mind game. It's more take out the pallet. If you can take out the pallet early game, it make it tougher for the survivors late game. Yeah, I think any of those high mobility killers could be lethal on Wreckers.
Yeah, my only thing is, like, some of the high mobility killers that really do stand out, like Blight, for example, really do suffer on this map because there's so many tight tiles. And unless you're playing towards the middle, towards Shack, you know, that's where Blight can really bounce off of more objects and use that to their advantage. But for the most part, you know, Blight, which I think is the best high mobility killer for the most part, is going to just suffer. So, you know, you need to look at some other ones like Bubba, like Wraith. But as we discussed, you know, Wraith is going to suffer with those pallets too. So the question is, you know, who do you bring? You could always bring an anti-loop killer, you know, Deathslinger, much like Huntress, really good on this map because of those really low tiles that you're just able to shoot over, and even do it easier than Huntress in many scenarios.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, those low tiles, with Deathslinger's height, a lot of those times you can't break the chain using those little rocks or any of those little objects, and so he can shoot you across a pallet and walk around to still get the hit and down. I think Deathslinger is actually a really good option that you talk about here, and I like that you brought that up.
Yeah, no, I'd love to see some more Deathslinger play, 100%. On Sample Text, we have Jess, who is known for a really good Deathslinger. So we have practiced on this map with Deathslinger a few times, and man, it is a nightmare to play against them, to say the least. So I would not be surprised to see Deathslinger here. You know, really, I think the killers that I'm most looking forward to right now, Slinger, Huntress, Bubba, are kind of going to be the main three that I'm going to say is my guess. What are your three that you're thinking?
I'm thinking, well, I'm going to take your Deathslinger there. Deathslinger would be a really good play, and I would expect we could see a Deathslinger. I still am going to stay with Spirit and Huntress. I think because you're under the gun, you've got to think about bringing an S tier. So we definitely could see a Spirit there. And Spirit on Wreckers is nasty. Like, Spirit is really, really good on Wreckers. And Huntress, we already saw how good Huntress can do on here. And then still having the same kind of ranged thought process, I'm thinking Deathslinger.
Yeah, no, I could definitely accept that. But I do see Giraffe has unmuted. Do you have any news for us?
We are good to go.
Awesome. In that case,
nice.
I'll let them know, and we're going to be moving into trial number 2 of Round 1, Division 2, Prestige versus Undying Alliance. So, let's see. You know, like I said, I'm thinking Slinger, Bubba, or Huntress would be my calls.
If you see a Slinger, do you think that the survivors are going to attack the totems, or do you think that the survivors are going to let the totems be, kind of like what we saw from the last match?
That's a good question, honestly. But, you know, realistically speaking, from what we saw last match, though it was beneficial not to cleanse Rune in some cases, I think that doing so would have applied more pressure, especially as we looked at that build at the end, and it was Rune Undying, no Pop. I believe. Maybe Pop was there as well.
Was Pop.
Was Pop? Jesus, Rune Undying and Pop.
Yep.
So, you know, with that being said, you know, would it have helped in the end? Maybe. Because it would have meant that while you're slugged out, while you're walking away and attempting to pick up survivors or unhook, you know, that those gens aren't going to regress, and so they're going to have to rely on those hook states, where towards the end, they weren't really getting many. So I think maybe cleansing the Ruin at that point in time may have been beneficial for Prestige as a whole. But if it's Slinger, I still say cleanse Totem, because they can apply a lot of good pressure, especially if Slinger's not afraid to drop chase a few mending. I mean, that's 12 seconds of time off a gen where Ruin's going to put in some work.
You know, when I see Slinger in comp matches, though, I almost always expect Haunted. Slinger is looking for those quick downs. So I'd be immersed as a survivor, I think, if I did see a Slinger.
I could definitely see that, no doubt about it, but everything's looking to go good to go on Survivor's side, so let's jump right on in, and we see High Savannah's on Ace, Mega C as Meg, and Skills as the Twins.
Oh, okay.
So a little bit kind of like we were talking about, you know, they are what I refer to as a macro killer, one of the two in the game, like Hag, though you could classify them as a, you know, high mobility killer like Wraith, in a sense that Victor is able to move at 150 speed.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If you can get the survivors to not reset as well, that would give Victor a lot of power, which you would love to see it.
Yeah, no, especially, though I do want to mention something here. If I'm kind of looking at this build, I'm very curious about the add-on specifically. You know, Spinning Top kind of makes sense. It's basically like a 5th perk, acting as Franklin's in a way. When you do hit survivors with Victor, they drop their item, which is kind of cute. At the same time, the Candelabra, I do actually forget what that does. If we could get a quick check on that by Giraffe, I would actually be kind of interested, because most times you're really seeing a lot of you know, Force Stew for the increased speed, as well as Toy Sword for the decreased charge time on Victor.
Yeah, I would have. Oh, go ahead, Keith.
The Candelabrum slightly. Oh, I lost it. Slightly increases time needed for survivors to crush Victor.
Interesting. So I kind of like that in a sense, but the problem is that most plays in comp and in just general good play against players or against Twin is to simply take Victor hostage for the full 45 seconds, and we saw that happen just now, where Victor is now back in the hands of Skills. So I don't know, I think arguably that add-on kind of goes to waste very quickly.
I agree. I think the decreased charge time on Victor is what I expected to see as well. And yeah, I don't know that I agree with that play, but we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, proof is in the pudding, right? So we're going to see how these survivors play around it, and if the Candelabra really comes into play, we do see that Nancy goes into a locker. Debatable whether or not that's the right play. On one hand, it means that Twins can slug out. On the other hand, it means that they do get that grab. There are some cases where that's beneficial, where if you're far enough away from Twins, that those 10 seconds in a locker are better than going down.
Yeah, definitely. I think in that case, you saw Charlotte drop Victor, though, and you know you're not far enough away. I don't necessarily know if that was the right play there. But especially being a basement hook. Yeah, that's tough, because with Twins, that really puts pressure on the survivors, because Charlotte can just let Victor out, wait the 45 seconds over here, and let him go to second. Really let him go to second. You've already got 3 gens complete. You probably do want Rin going to second here. This is your first hook. Yeah, the survivors definitely have advantage here. If they keep playing smart and just knock more gens out, I think we could see a 3 out. I could potentially see a 3 out at this point.
Yeah, no, 110%, though we are seeing that second stage quickly approaching down there for Nancy, and Twins looking to confirm that, so I do believe that will be 1 hook, 1 progression, and it's going to put them into a very awkward position here, because if they're not able to get out, you know, that will result in the first kill, but at the same time, Victor's been held hostage for a while now. I'm really surprised that the Twins are not recalling and trying to basically camp with Charlotte and leave Victor out for more pressure. So I'm kind of surprised in that regard.
I actually agree with that play. The reason I agree with that play is you already saw the ace off of a gen, and if Victor is on the Claudette, then you know that she can't touch a gen either. So you know True. 2 survivors are off gen, 1's on hook. So maximum 1 person is working on a gen. If I'm Charlotte, perfect. I'll take that all day.
That's fair, that's fair. And also, I'm noticing, and this is kind of strange, I think it might be a spectator bug because you said 3 gen was done before, and like, I definitely heard another gen get done as well. But I think what's happening is when they transfer over to Victor, and back to Charlotte, it's causing a generator pop. It's much like...
yeah, I've heard that's a bug.
Interesting. I was like, what the heck? That's really funny to me, not gonna lie. Because that's the same thing that happens when you switch perspectives from survivor to survivor or survivor to killer. It's like, man, that's really strange, but yeah, nope, that's exactly it. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I was very, I didn't even notice that. I'm glad you pointed that out. That's interesting.
Because when you said a 3rd gen, I'm like, It says 2, though, so is it the icon bug or is it the sound bug? I don't know which.
Yeah.
You know, thankfully for this Twins, it is definitely a sound bug because, man, if that many gens were getting popped, I'd be a little bit concerned.
That's true. I would be concerned as well.
You know, what Survivor needs to do 5 gens? Let's do 10.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of, though, these Survivors really put in the pressure to the Twins and does complete that 5th gen, so I think you're right in saying a 3-man out is probably likely here.
I think, honestly, at this point, we're looking at 4-man, and we do see Claudette get unhooked, and she had adrenaline. That's an adrenaline play. She came off the hook, fully healed. Oh, yeah, I think it's yeah, at this point it is. Rin had already gone to 2nd. That's Death Hook. Go ahead and just leave Nancy behind.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that Nancy's doing here, she's looking at the situation and going, hey, I'm already on Death Hook. If they kill me now, that's okay, because they only get an additional 4 points, right? Whereas if they were to get Megacy, High Surveillance, Dead by Cats, that could be a lot of points in Prestige's favor. So I think from a strategic perspective, if they're going to get one more hook, this is the hook to get.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would agree with that. I mean, the other thing is they're gonna get the bonus points, the survivors are, for being fresh and getting out.
Well, no bonus points.
Bonus points?
No bonus points there. Realistically speaking, it's not a fresh out. You still have the standard multipliers, though. It looks like Megacy is maybe BMing or going for a hatch. I'm kind of confused there because it's a dangerous game to BM a Twins while healthy because you could get a Bloodborne effect applied to you. I'm kind of curious to see. Let's see where Megacy is. And Megacy, yeah, doing just that, you know, taking her time, walking out nice and slow, and that will result in a 3-man out for Undying Alliance. But with that being said, final score for that match, 38 Undying Alliance to 15 Prestige and the Twins. So overall score, looking at 24 Prestige, 84 Undying Alliance, and the pressure's now on Prestige to try and bridge the gap.
Yeah, I think definitely Twins there didn't put enough pressure down on the map, and those survivors really didn't make a lot of mistakes. They weren't grouped up. They definitely reset often. Did you notice that as well? Like,
yep.
We had 3 people injured at one point, and within 40 seconds, 2 of them were healed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's what you need to do against Twins, though, of course, right? You can't sit there and go, oh, we're not going to heal against Twins, especially if, you know, as we saw there at the end, Thanatophobia in play. You need to heal constantly. And what that means a lot of times for survivors is playing in pairs, but we saw here where they really spread out pretty well, but still were able to regroup, communicate, and go, hey, let's heal here, and really were able to capitalize off of that communication.
Yeah, and even when Rin did end up going down, going to a corner was a smart play. Like, go ahead and take him far away from the exit gates. Come on, come chase me to the corner, Twins.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, there were a lot of good plays by the survivors there, and you can tell that their communication is good. Their map awareness was very good. As soon as they got injured, even though they were spread out, like you said, they met up and they were able to heal up and really put the pressure back on the killer. Yeah, you injured me, but we reset. Come injure me again.
Yep.
Rinse and repeat.
Exactly. So very excited here. You know, we do have little Rugard coming in for Prestige as killer. So maybe you'll get your wish. Maybe we might see some Trickster play.
Rue, if you can hear me, please play Trickster.
I think everyone is asking that same thing in chat here, saying, hey, play Trickster. And hey, you never know. I know that Rugard also has a few other tricks up their sleeve. Previously, we saw a lot of Blight from Rue over on Vigo's core, as well as some Plague. So I think that Rue still has a few, tricks up their sleeve over just Trickster. But hey, who knows? You know, they are in what I refer to as more of a losing scenario here, where if they don't do this flawlessly, you know, this will be their swan song. But still, nonetheless, I'm very excited to see if Rue will bring out the Trickster.
Yeah. I am as well. If I'm not mistaken, Rue actually has the world record as well for Trickster in pubs, fastest 4K.
I do believe you're correct.
I don't know if he still holds it, but last time I checked, he's the world record holder. I want to see some Trickster gameplay.
Yeah, no, I would love that. You know, I do love the DVD speedrun community is kind of a cute little thing. I know that, who was I playing against? I was playing against Swarm as Nemesis, actually, and I ended up getting, I think, the 3rd fastest Nemesis run on Dead Dog before it was disabled. The team was a flashlight squad, and let's put it this way, first hook basement, and they did not want to leave.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they were all about those unhooks, but it's fun. I love the speedrun community. It's really cool to see how people really maximize their gameplay. I would almost love to see, now that MMR is included, I'd almost love to see the speedrun leaderboards almost get reset, because imagine what it's like now for people trying to speedrun, you know, against survivors who are, for all intent and purpose, competent enough to go, hey, they have Starstruck. I need to stay away from them.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like there's not there's not the DBD, oh, let's rank this rank 1 versus these rank 17s and 16s because they have a 4 in their party.
Yeah.
There won't be as much of that. There will be a lot better matchups. And I've definitely seen that. I don't know what your experience with MMR is, but so far mine's been great. I've loved it. I'm all about it.
So I actually been loving it as well so far, and I'll be honest, I've actually played nothing but Cenobite for MMR thus far. And I'll be honest, it's been an interesting experience because MMR for Cenobite at the very least starts at 0, and we built our way up, and been playing against some pretty good survivors now to where I'm still feeling comfortable getting like the 2K, but that 3 or 4K, it's definitely a struggle to say the least.
Okay, and I love hearing that. I have noticed the killers that I play most often and that I feel like I can play I have like 2 killers I feel I can play at a competitive level, but then like others that definitely no way. So that's why I stay Survivor main.
That's fair.
With those killers, I've noticed in pubs, I've actually matched up against some people in our league, and I've been like, oh geez, this is pubs. I didn't want to sweat today.
I feel
so
that. But real quick,
interesting.
Not to interrupt, I do believe Giraffe has some news for us.
It has been requested for a points check, if we can. Really quick.
Yep, points check as of this moment. We are looking at a total of 24 to Prestige to 84 for UA.
Thank you so much.
No worries, no worries. And yeah, no, so funny that you mentioned that actually was back during the MMR test, one of them, I was playing Nurse and ended up on the game, like, oh, fantastic, Nurse on the game, that's good enough as is. Now look at the names for a second, I'm like, oh, son of a, and I see, I think it was Keeperly, as well as like 2 other comp players. I'm like, you gotta be freaking joking me. Here I am practicing my Nurse, I get the game, and I'm playing a freaking comp match, fantastic.
Yeah. I had matched up against Gothergy and his whole squad, and I was like, why did I match up against a Swift? And not only a Swift, but a comp team?
Yep.
I didn't want this.
No, 110%. It's one of those things I feel like those who are playing comp are going to see more often, depending on their queue times, where they're going to end up seeing like, oh, I know you. It's like, I'm going to bring a Mori.
100%. I'm bringing Devour. I'm bringing a Mori.
It's like, it's one of those things like, okay, I'm playing pubs. I don't want to have to do a comp scrim, but at the same time, it is wicked fun. But I believe Giraffe has some more news for us.
Yes, builds are good.
Awesome, awesome. In that case, I'll let them know, and we'll be going on to trial number 3 of round 1, Division 2, Undyne Alliance against Prestige. So, wicked excited about this. Crossing my fingers that Rugar brings a Trickster, and we'll see what happens, right?
I've got both fingers crossed. I'm crossing my arms now. Come on, Ruru. I want to see the Trickster.
And it's gonna be interesting. I mean, so Trickster is so hard, and I harp on this so often about Trickster. because a lot of people come into chat and go, Trickster's so OP now. I'm like, but are they really? Because I think that the biggest thing at highest level of play, even with such god tier Tricksters like Rugard, if you're playing around tight palettes or tight loops, you know, it's so hard for Trickster to gain value unless they're short tiles, which, to be fair, on Grim Pantry, that middle area, really, really tight, but really, really low down to the ground, where you're going to get hit by Trickster no matter what you try and do. So unless you're playing around Shack, playing around platforms, two-story, or Grim Pantry itself, you're gonna be out in the open and at the mercy of Trickster and his blades. Yeah,
I agree 110%. I feel a really good Trickster knows when to pull out the knives, when to hold the knives and swing that bat, or even just hold the knives, keep walking towards the survivor, make them try to zigzag and expect the knives, close that distance, get your hits, and definitely I have seen Rue punish pubs before with that. Like, go ahead and fake like you're gonna throw knives and have the survivor run around, dance for you a little bit, enjoy the dance, and then punish them.
Yep. No, 100%. It's going to be interesting. And the biggest thing is, as well, I think the difference that we've seen between Season 0 now is that behavior did make a slight change to Trickster, and actually a pretty substantial one at that, was that previously, before it was last updated on the Trickster update, was that Trickster could actually apply laceration to survivors getting unhooked, meaning that they were a force to be reckoned with on those unhooks. That has since been fixed, as well as the the piercing and the splash damage combo has also been nerfed. So Trickster is going to be a little bit weaker going into this match in comparison to what we saw in Season 0. So going to be interesting to see how Rugard makes up for that with that knowledge in mind, being, well, a Trickster main, of course. This, of course, all assuming he's bringing Trickster, but we're gonna, you know, if we will it into the existence, right?
Yep, I agree. I wanna see, who do we have? Trickster!
It is Trickster! Indeed. So, wicked excited to see this, and I don't know about you, but it's going to be really interesting to see how these survivors play around this, knowing that it is Trickster. Whether they're going to play aggressively or are they going to wait out this Corrupt intervention instead.
I think the play definitely would be wait out the Corrupt, make him search the whole map and feel like you're on a gen somewhere else. Go ahead and wait out Corrupt, I think.
No, that is fair. That is fair. I mean, waiting out Corrupt is not a bad idea, especially on this map where those corners are pretty deep, so you can kind of just sit out there, out in the cattails, and go, all right, this is my home now. You know, I'm going to, no, it doesn't matter who I'm playing as, I'm now Blendette. And this is where I will stay for the next 2 minutes.
Yep, I agree with that.
But we do see a crow, and I'm sure, knowing Rue saw it too, go off in the distance, telling Rugard that there is a survivor over here. The question is where, and they do find high surveillance in those cattails, and that'll be the first injure. And, ooh, not too long from now, potentially the first down, but Rue not able to make it happen. And those servers there, not great to bounce off of. That little bit of angle of those ricochet blades really can be punishing.
There it is, though. There it is. Rue with those knives, just lethal.
No, absolutely. And so really good down there. Could have been even quicker, but honestly, I think that's really good play. First down, first 2 minutes. So it really comes down to applying even pressure to these remaining generators and, you know, trying to get this down within the remaining knives that Rue has, which is very few and far between, but looking like he's going to take the time to reload.
Yeah, I also like that with the hits that he's gotten, he's efficient enough with those knives that on one charge of knives without having to reload, not only does he have Claudette injured with that ricochet knife there, but we can see main event is charged quite a bit already.
Yeah, and a lot of people, though main event, I still wish it was a, you know, charge and push on demand type of ability. You know, main event's still so hyper lethal, where these survivors do need to be very careful being caught out on the open with main event in play.
Especially, we've already seen the accuracy Rue has. Rue has a lot of hours in Trickster. We've seen that he knows how the hitboxes work. He knows how to ricochet those knives to guarantee hits. Just give him unlimited knives with main event. That's dangerous.
100%, yeah, and I mean, we saw a really good Ricochet play on the Claudette earlier. It just shows how much Rue plays with Trickster to know the exact angle to get that hit.
Agreed.
But these Survivors also doing a really good job, you know, keeping distance. The Rugar is going through and injuring Survivors one at a time, you know, very systematically. It is showing that, you know, these Survivors are still able to apply a lot of good pressure, but Claudette getting caught out in the open and main event now active. Question of the day, though, is will Rue even need to use it to secure the down?
I don't think so. And honestly, I don't think we see Rue pull it. Rue's not going to pull it. He'll probably let it run out and just continue chase.
Potentially. Otherwise, I might think that we might see a last-minute usage and just try and gain some pressure. I mean, it doesn't hurt to use it at the end of the day, even if it is tossing across map. But no. Oh, yeah, we do.
We do see last moment.
Yeah, like I said, you know, I was like, okay, you know, maybe. But Rue goes, okay, no one's nearby. Let's just fatigue out, call it a day. Now, interesting there. I'm curious to why he swung there. Maybe it's something that I'm not aware of with the fatigue timing. That maybe reduces something, if anything. But possibly just a misclick as well. Who knows?
Like a fatigue cancel on Nurse?
Yeah, maybe. Right?
Maybe. I don't know about that, but if anybody did know, it would probably be Rue.
Yeah, no, Rue, as we've said, is a Trickster main and does get BT there off the Claudette. And probably is going to struggle here at getting this down now. I mean, getting Claudette back on hook is not a bad play at all. And it's going to be up to them to avoid these last remaining knives. But Rue will get that hit.
Indeed, with the bat. We love to see it. I think right now, though, there is a lot of pressure on Rue. These Survivors are still pushing out gens with ease right now. And unless Rue has a 3-gen... here coming up, this is not. Are we seeing flashlight clicky? Oh,
yeah,
geez.
Look like Surveillance wants to get into a bit of a chase here.
Rue says, no, not right now. I have other priorities.
Yeah, no, these generators are definitely going to be exactly that. And Rue, once again, putting out a lot of good pressure here on Nancy. And will probably be able to get this injure, but struggling here on this tight loop. Like I said earlier, these tight loops really punishing for these Survivors. Is able to reset that laceration meter, meaning that it has not had a chance to fully regress. And Nancy just needs one knife on her, and that'll be a health state gone.
Indeed. Getting the stun there for Nancy, though, was very clutch, because then there's no opportunity for him to extend it further. And we see another stun from Nancy.
Yeah, overall, really good plays and making good use of these pallets out on the outskirts to try and extend this chase for as long as possible. But says, all right, well, come get me. You know, it's over for me. I'm not going to be able to get out, and go put me on hook.
Yep, we've definitely seen this story before. Rin loves corners. It seems that's been like 3 times today we've seen Rin go, okay, you're gonna catch me to the corner.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if it brings them away from an active generator, away from a hook, it's a great play, to say the least.
It is, indeed. And these last few generators, they're pretty spread. Oh, well, there it pops. So definitely a good play to go to the corner, because you take him far away from the gens being worked on, as we see there.
And absolutely, unless Rugard here is able to apply some really strong pressure, this probably will be the swan song for Prestige at this point in time. Rugard, in my opinion, still putting up a pretty good showing with Trickster. Like I said, if you're playing around really tight loops and you're playing it smart and forcing them to M1 scenarios, you know, Trickster feels very weak. Hence why whenever someone says they're OP, I'm like, well, you may just not be playing against them right. And this is a good example of how to play against them. You know, even against Rugard, who is a Trickster main, you know, we're seeing Dying Alliance just play a really good match. But let's see if Ace here is able to stay up And we do see main event, and one thing to note about Trickster is the fact that he does animation lock you upon the down, as we do see there on Ace, but that fatigue from main event might not give enough time, and does not, unfortunately.
Oh no, that's so unfortunate. I was wondering as well, because that animation lock, if you can down and immediately cancel main event, it's tough. It's like it's a 50-50. You may get out, you may not get out, and we just see Rue lose that here. Unfortunate.
And it does result in a 4-man out, so a full 50 points for Undying Alliance 2, Prestige's 16, resulting in an overall score of 40-134. This has locked up the game for Undying Alliance, and that will be a win for them. Nonetheless, we will be playing out trial number 4, where Undying Alliance will have to use a killer of their choosing. I'm sure it'll be a throwaway killer, which, honestly, I love those matches, too, because, you know, we get to see, like, Trapper, Legion, or some of those C or D tier killers come out and play.
You know, having the win locked in, I'd like to see a Mikey. You don't
know
see
what?
Mikey at all.
Okay.
In comp. I'd love to see a Mikey.
I could see that. I could see that. That would actually be a lot of fun. That would be that'd be a good one.
It'd be something we don't see every day, and that's I think that would be fun to see. Like, definitely chat. Let me know if I'm right. Like, let me know if you also would like to see something in comp you almost never see. Could we see Mr. Mikael Myers?
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun, honestly. For those who don't know the rules in depth, Tombstone obviously banned. But
Yeah.
Double Charge I could see for Michael Myers. This is a bit more of a wide open map, though very easy to kind of, you know, immerse, as we saw towards the beginning of this trial. So, you know, could very well see Michael, would love to. I think, you know, him and Trapper very, very easily throwaway killers. You know, spice it up a little bit, rather than just seeing that throwaway Trapper. That's the status quo.
Yeah. I mean, well, I feel like last week, didn't we see a Trapper get a 4K last week?
We did. We did see Gothaji 4K'ing against Milkshake Mafia as Trapper. So that is a possibility. You know, Trapper is still a killer. Might be an M1 115. To be fair, it was Cold Tower, so a little bit easier to manage than Grim Pantry, but still a good map nonetheless.
Indeed, yeah. There's a lot of tall grass. If you did play Trapper, it would be advantageous to put some in like random tall grass, control the chase to it. You know, kind of do a Ots play there. You know.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. As I was saying before, and I'll say it again, I just so wish Trapper could get a little bit of love. Something to make him just feel a little bit more playable. Same thing with Michael Myers, though I understand why Michael Myers is probably not, because they are a licensed killer. In order to change anything about them or their map, that has to go through the IP holder, which is a miserable, miserable thing, I imagine, for Behavior to go through.
Yeah, and I mean, we've already seen, we're seeing Stranger Things leaving, and so we probably won't see any more demo adjustments at that point.
To be fair, I'll be honest, I love Demo and where they're at. I always talk about how Demo, in my opinion, is the most balanced killer in the game. They're not too strong, they're not too weak, they feel fun to play. They have a good balance of abilities from mobility to, you know, shred. So, you know, with that being said, I honestly don't think Demo needs much of a change at this point. I feel like Demo's in a really good place. Some of the perks, on the other hand, I could see needing a slight change, like Surge, for example. I think Surge just needs to get updated.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Honestly, I'd love if Surge could take, and this is, I'm still a Survivor main, but I still would love to see if Surge could take a little bit more off of a gen, like just make it a little bit more effective.
Honestly,
either that or the radius increase.
I think it's not even the radius or the amount of time it takes off. I think it's honestly the fact that they changed Eruption, which I personally hate. I loved OG Eruption. A lot of people did not understand why. But they changed Eruption from being a M1 only down to an any down. And I could see that same change being made for Eruption, so that way killers like Blight, killers like Huntress, killers like Trickster could use Surge freely, rather than feel like, well, I have to get an M1. I'm not an M1 killer, right? So I'd love to see at least that change, but if you were to decrease the cooldown or increase the amount of damage or increase the radius, I would not complain. For those who have watched Vigo's Court or have watched my stream, for a long while, I was really high on Surge. I loved using that perk alongside Ruin because you just get that double gen regression, right? But nowadays, I kind of fell off of that because, man, these survivors, they're so efficient at getting rid of totems. I'm like, well, my Ruin's not up. I can't run Surge.
I'll say we've got a Deathslinger main on the team that I play for on We Overslept, and he loves in pubs to bring Surge, Oppression, Pop, and I forget what his last perk is, but then he just plays a 3-gen, and he may only get like 2 hooks at the beginning from survivors while he's protecting that 3-gen, but at the end, he's really able to punish, and because of the way Deathslinger works, I mean, if he reels you in and hits you, that still counts as an M1. It's more like an infinite, regression build, you know? Like, as soon as he downs you in that area, in the 3-gen, he's already regressed all 3 gens with Surge, and then he goes and kicks the one with the most progress. And Oppression then gets affected to all gens again.
Yep.
It's a force.
No, I would 100% agree. And, you know, in those type of scenarios with that type of perk build, it's a game of attrition, less of a race to the finish, right? And, you know, you see those type of builds on, like, Hag, for example, because that's kind of their MO. But, I mean, any killer can do that with a good 3-gen. Just kind of grind out the game, and yeah, it's slow, it's grindy. You're kind of not doing much for the beginning of the match, but, you know, towards the end there, it's non-stop pressure that you have to apply because any give to those survivors just results in a loss then and there.
Yeah. Indeed. And what killer do you think we see here? I'm interested to get your thoughts.
I think once again it's a throwaway killer. I think my 3 picks are, like you said, Myers, Trapper, Legion. I could see one of those 3 killers being used here. So that would be my guesses. What about you? What are your 3 picks? What are your 3 guesses?
I'd say I think we could see a Trapper. I think we could see a Bubba. I think we could see... I honestly don't think we'll see Myers. I want to see Myers. But I don't think we will see. Let me see. Last pick. Maybe they come back with Trickster. Just because.
I could see that. I mean, Trickster, I know that, you know, people like Rue and others are kind of high on Trickster. Like, oh, he's probably like more towards B tier now. I'm like, yeah, but I still think C tier. Before, to be fair, I had him like E or F tier down with Trapper and Myers because he's so map reliant. Now I'd say probably closer to C tier, but like, I think it's a good throwaway character for some fun.
I think it definitely depends on league rules, and I think the benefit here within Champions of the Fall is like I've seen other leagues actually not allow a add-on, and I think you do that, you cripple him as a killer.
Yeah.
So for sure, I feel he is a very add-on reliant killer.
Yep.
So within Champions, I think he actually has the potential to be a little bit more powerful. Yeah, I just I don't know. Definitely the way we saw those survivors play that last round, they know how to punish a Trickster for sure.
Yeah, 110%. But I do see Giraffe has unmuted. Any news?
We are good to go.
Awesome. I'll let them know and be jumping right on into trial number 4 of Prestige versus Undying Alliance.
I'm seeing from chat is calling out that they think it'll be a pig.
Okay.
And I actually definitely could see that. For this map, I would prefer Pig on Pale Rose, honestly, to Grim Pantry. But I mean, hey, we could see it. Tamper Timer, Crate of Gears, maybe.
We could definitely see Pig here. I don't know though. I like on one hand, Pig is definitely a lower tier killer, but they definitely have their moments where it's not necessarily like a close match, but not like you're, you know, leagues and bounds behind the other team, where Pig can kind of come in and still be a pretty good killer because they have that passive gen slowdown, almost like Cenobite in a way, right? Where they're able to slow down the game using their bear traps and just say, okay, you know, go work on gens, but that other survivor, they're gonna have to get that bear trap off, and they have only 2 minutes to do it. So, you know, I could definitely see Pig here. At the same time, I could argue maybe keeping Pig for another moment that, you know, isn't necessarily as much of a throwaway in comparison.
Yeah, I agree. I'm now really interested to see who we have as killer. I've loved to be surprised. I think the first match we weren't as surprised because we called out it would be a Huntress. We were like, we think Huntress. And definitely Rue. We were hoping for the Trickster and excited to see the Trickster. But I've been really happy to see who are they gonna bring? Who is it? Who's the killer?
And it looks like we got our freaking wish, and it is a Michael Myers.
Guys, you have made me a very happy co-host today. I just want you to know, like, I am extremely satisfied. I love both teams for this. Like, you've done good work today. We
got a Trickster, we got a Myers. The game is on, and Myers here trying to get an early tier 2, and does end up with it. Will he go for the stalk out to the tier 3, or will he opt to go for the hit? And looks like Nia here trying desperately to stay away from Myers, but no chance thus far.
No, yeah. Go ahead and he got hit with the screwdriver, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the biggest things that we're seeing here is kind of what we mentioned earlier, if these low, tight tiles with Trickster benefits Michael Myers too, right? Where he's able to stalk you over those, and even while crouched, you kind of can get some cheeky stalks in. And we do hear Bamboozle with Myers, which is a fantastic perk on him. Actually got turned onto this perk by, I believe, Iverson. Back when we were actually talking about COTF rules, where like Bamboozle Myers is actually really nice because Myers tier 2 increased vault speed as is. Bamboozle increases it further, and you're able to lock down some really strong loops very early with Myers because of that, and then go into a tier 3 and just go for that down then and there.
Indeed. I think Ace there maybe should have pre-dropped that pallet. Never mind, they got the stun, and then they shined a flashlight at the ground instead of going for the blind.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, I can respect that because I say time and time again, do not blind killers over pallets, people. Any killer worth their salt and with a decent headset can hear your footsteps and track you like they can see, so it's not really worth your time.
Oh, look at that tier 3 and down.
Yeah, really good usage of that 99 and gets that really good down to coup de grace distance and speed, so great job by Surveillance there. So, question is now, is he going to be able to capitalize off this tier 3 and, you know, really be able to get anyone else down within this, give or take, 30 seconds now?
I don't think that he's going to get it in time, but, well, maybe.
Yeah.
Actually, in this chase right here, it's possible.
It's going to be close, but it looks like they're going to opt to pressure the unhook instead, and they still have 15 seconds to work with. Pallet is still there and going to take the body block here, which Heisenfeld's going to go, sure, be my guest, I'll wait out these 12 seconds, and you're going to go down for it.
Yep, indeed.
Heisenfeld's desperately once again trying to go for Ace instead, but is not able to make it happen. I mean, in some ways, really good idea. Like, against most killers, you wouldn't think that as being smart. But in this instance, where you basically waste that full tier 1 or tier 3 potential, not bad. However,
my heart. I love what I'm seeing.
Yeah, really good usage of those add-ons, getting that really quick charge time, and does result in another tier 3. However, we probably will see this tier 3 go into the wayside with only 1 down once again, as they're opting not to pick up. Or I thought they were initially, but looks like they go for the gen pressure instead. And now we'll go back from the Ace, who did use Deliverance.
Indeed. and that's a DS. But go ahead and eat it. This early game, there's 4 gens. Eat the DS. It's fine.
Oh, exactly. 110%. Eat that DS. No fear whatsoever. They do get the screen up, however, which is a pretty good play. So they did make good use of that DS at the very least.
Indeed, indeed. I was going to say that we were seeing the same type of play from High Surveillance that we saw the first time, and I definitely enjoyed seeing it. Of the hook one, slug one, and apply that slug pressure. We do see 2 gens pop from the survivors as well, so that's good. They're split up on other gens, still applying good pressure. But this is definitely still anybody's game. If that ace goes down again, and we got 2 people on hook, Myers is doing quite well.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great showing as far as Myers is concerned. Obviously, Tier 1 is the hardest thing to get out of when it comes to Myers as a whole. And with that really early Tier 2, that really does allow High Surveillance to kind of kick it into overdrive and start to pressure these survivors in a completely different way than they previously expected, I think.
Indeed. Didn't get the hit there. I was surprised on that. The stun happened and no hit.
I was about to say that same thing, that hit validation just said, you know what? I think Ace here needs that stun, so denied Myers the hit.
Jeez. Yeah, I definitely like the killer in me goes, you got behaviored there. But yeah, it allowed him to extend chase quite a bit.
It did. I will note something here. If we're looking at that that timer, I don't know if you've noticed it either, but I'm pretty sure Zarina here has camaraderie.
For sure she does.
And it's taking a while to tick down, so I think on one hand, you know, a cheeky play by High Surveillance to try and just say, you know what, I don't care about camaraderie. I'm just going to camp this out, get the kill, call it a day, and get my 2K with Myers. Which, well, I mean, hey...
If you see, so yeah, confirm the kill, and you're 99 to go ahead and find another survivor and get that instant down.
Yeah, I know in the league we currently are having discussions on whether or not we're going to include Noed next season. But who needs Noed when you have a 99 Myers, right?
Exactly. A 99 Bamboozle Myers. Oh, man. See Dazzy go down here trying to go across the pallet. Shaq with Bamboozle. Yeah, you don't want to be here.
No, but Ace coming in, sneaking on in for that flashlight play, so very cheeky play right there. But hey, you know, 1 flashlight save for another down. Honestly, if I'm High Surveillance, I'm not going to complain too much, but respects the pallet so much to swing out of it, and actually ends up working out against him here.
It does indeed. He's trying to get that tier 3 value on the Cheryl, it looks like. Oh, looks like Cheryl didn't expect the Bamboozle, maybe. Tried to loop back through that to that side with the window blocked.
And High Surveillance now being a little bit careful, going, okay, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, however.
Yep, indeed. I didn't even think that the ace was close enough to get it, but that was a great play, honestly, by Skillsy.
Yeah, 110%. It's definitely not something that you see in Compal too often, and man, that mid-vault punishing Ace right there, and results in another down at Shaq.
Yeah, didn't swing that out far enough on the Ace's side to guarantee the fast vault.
Apparently not, and High Surveillance going, okay, I'm going to BM a little bit just for the sake that you flashlight saved.
Yeah, I honestly, as a killer right now, like knowing that this match is already kind of in hand, I don't know. I feel like I would camp him. I'd be like, you got the flashlight save. That's fine. You're dying on hook for that one.
Oh, 100%. And the fun thing is that we see here, Prestige, once again, much like round 1, or trial number 1, did not cleanse Ruin, and the only gen that has really been worked on is right next to this hook. High Surveillance has no reason to actually leave this, as Nia is pleading with him, and he just goes, no, I don't think so. I think I am fine just sitting here. You go do you. You're already stocked out max, so you can stand there all you want. But this man's dying.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I agree with that. I agree with that play 100%. I do also like that that is actually where the gens still were. So unfortunately, that hook, it was near all 3 gens. So good move by Myers to go ahead and just camp there. I mean, it's totally fine to camp there, especially as you know that the gens were all regressing with Ruin already. So you have no reason to really stress about it. You know you have like a good 40 seconds before a gen would pop anyway.
Exactly. And I love what High Surveillance was doing there. It's very obvious that he's trying to get that tier 3, and just so he could get the down on Dazi here, and does succeed in doing just that. So I think just really smart play, really smart heads-up play. It's like, okay, you have a pallet, that's fine. Drop it. Let me stalk you. I'm going to go down Nia instead.
Are we going to see a 4K from Myers?
I mean, we were already talking about that 4K from Trappers, so it's not outside the realm of possibility here.
Oh my goodness. That'll be 2 4Ks for High Surveillance, really showing their killer skill here. And, oh, is he just running into a corner?
Looks like exactly that, and High Surveillance going, all right, you know, you do your 360s, I'm just going to stand here menacingly, shake head no, and do a 360 down.
Yep. Venison Rain saying, I want to be like Rin. I want to go to the corner.
Trying to establish dominance. Go, no, this is my corner, not yours.
My corner. Nobody puts me in a corner but me.
But yeah, that there will be a 4K for High Surveillance with the shape, resulting in a 14 points to Prestige and 43 points for High Surveillance and UA as the shape of evil himself, Mr. Michael Myers.
That was definitely a dominant performance by High Surveillance 2 times in a row. That's really, really good to see for UA. Shows a lot of killer strength. And as we were talking in the beginning, this league kind of almost being more of a survivor can get your win. We were just talking about that. We've got a lot of like survivor skilled teams. That's really good to see that you have a killer that can 4K and really give you the win there.
100%, 100%. And so that being said, GG, well played to both teams, Undying Alliance and Prestige. But Undying Alliance coming out with the win here at 177 to Prestige's 54. Really fun matches overall. Congratulations to both teams and amazing plays on both sides. But that being said, that there is going to be the end of Round 1, Division 2, Undying Alliance versus Prestige. Vader, any last thoughts here?
You know, I think that on UA's side, they showed that they have excellent chemistry on Survivor. But definitely when they were playing against that Twins, they were able to just really have really good map presence. And even versus the Trickster, the map presence was crazy good. Being able to know where everybody is, know where the killer is, and be able to get to each other to reset, even though they're so spread out, and put the map pressure down on the killer was amazing. And then on the other side of it, the ability to play killers very well and get the 4K both times was a dominant performance. Love to see it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, with that being said, oh, Vader, if people wanted to go say hi since you do stream, where would they find you?
You can find me on Twitch at _OG_Vader. And I stream a lot of Dead by Daylight. I stream some Apex Legends. I stream some Borderlands 3. If there are any Borderlands 3 players out there, I do use the EchoCast extension. Any loot I find in game, you can claim in your own game. So definitely come check me out. We love doing a lot of fun things. I love playing with viewers. So 100%, come check me out. Come on.
Awesome.
We
awesome
do a
stuff.
lot of custom games. We do a lot of Swifts. Just do it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, definitely take Vader up on that option. Definitely stop on by, say hi. And with that being said, I am Mark, aka Guildspire. I'm not only your commissioner here on Champions of Fog, but I am also an educational Dead by Daylight player over on my personal channel, where I am teaching killers how to play killer and survivors how to play against killer. So definitely stop on by, say hi. But on that note, we'll see y'all later at 4 p.m. CST, where I will actually not be the primary host. We're going to have Little Rugard and All for Domo hosting the match with Sample Text versus Regicide, where I'm going to be playing some killers. So definitely make sure to stop on by. It'll be up in 30 minutes. Hope to see you guys there.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.